Hello, John speaking.
So talk to you about budget transfers,
Okay, Bill.
but I still think it's early in the year and I don't think we need to make any yet. Okay, good.
And because you don't have.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Good to see you. How's everything? Very good. Good.
Not
Jeff?
that I'm aware of.
Good to
I
see
have
you.
two
How
other
are you?
people logged on
Good.
right
Terrific.
now.
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm in the,
Good.
in the room as we
Chris?
speak. So,
What's up?
How are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
How are you?
Good.
uh,
Chief?
I don't know if I have two other people logged in. You're doing it from the website? Problem. I haven't gotten any other calls or anything from anybody. Let me
Terrific. So let's share that with the other trustees.
see if I
And we'll do that after the, if we get an agreement or anything. Yes.
what can I do?
I think it's fine, don't you?
Yeah.
Hello, trustee Paul Brook.
Yeah, I'm-
How are you, sir? Are you? I'm doing fine, thank you.
So Paul,
Good to see you.
What's the email address, Bill?
I got them ready for you. Thank you. This is. Smaller file.
That's it.
Hello, chief.
Smaller than usual. So, 6.
656.
I just sent you the
Josh
link
coming
straight from my
Yeah, Josh over here.
Yeah, other people are logging in, so something might be, I don't know, try the link I just sent you. Bill. Just you all come back.
It's coming. Mhm. Yeah, we'll probably increase that. Hopefully.
This is it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Would you turn on Dave's mic, please? And also Chris Pavlaka from Nugent. Let's turn on his mic. Oh, it's a little stuffy in here. Don't you think?
I brought jackets and blankets so you can make it cooler
Can we-
if you want.
I'm grateful for this gift. You're welcome. Happy to give. I got 3 more. Where by stamp? Signature.
Agenda.
Yes, please. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Agenda. Thank you.
How are you, Chris?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. I'm doing fine. How are you? Long time no see.
Chief was sporting a mustache.
Yes, the chief is growing some facial hair. We're gonna have to question him about that. Okay, 1-minute warning. Hello, Lily. How are you? Good to see you.
Lily, did you guys figure out what that issue was?
No, they're coming tomorrow. Then all of our AC went
Yeah.
wonky too, so
Oh,
just
really?
getting everything checked out. But thank you. Great fire department response to the church the other night.
Oh, good. All right. So good evening, everyone. My name is David McFadden. This is the regular meeting, July 26th of the Board of Trustees. And I'd like to call this meeting to order. Let's rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, please be seated. Roll call, please.
Mayor McFadden,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Shaw,
Present.
Trustee Brooke,
Present.
Trustee Casker,
Present.
Trustee Shara
Absent.
He's logging in.
He's logging in now
from China.
from China. Okay, so let's move on to mayor's comments. Those who follow what we typically do here on an annual basis after an election is we have what's called an annual reorganization meeting. Typically, that would be this evening, but because there has not been a winner declared, I talked to Brian this afternoon, and he gave us options, and they're written here on the agenda. Has everyone received a copy of the agenda? Okay, so those are the three options we have available to us, and we'll be doing a combination of those things in terms of making appointments, making holdover appointments, things of that nature. And then ultimately, when the winner is determined, then there'll be an annual reorganization meeting. Hopefully that will be sooner rather than later. Now, speaking of Brian Nugent, who is still the village attorney, Chris, did you have something you wanted to read?
Sure, just to create, to alleviate some confusion. Actually, before I do that, real quick, I got a text that people are having a problem logging in. So could somebody that's on the Zoom just say where they got the link from?
Chris, it's pretty simple. At the very
Yeah.
beginning of the link, you
Colon.
have HTTP. You have HTTP twice. You got to eliminate the
Okay.
first one.
Okay.
And there was a missing colon in the link.
Okay. Can you pull up the village website? I can correct that quickly. Oh, no, I can't actually. So, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Sorry about the interruption.
No, thank you very much, Chris. We appreciate that.
I'll just to clarify some things that have been talked about outside the village. On June 28th, 2023, our longtime village council, Brian Nugent of Furyk Nugent McCartney, PLLC, tendered notice to the Tuxedo Park Board of Trustees announcing his intention to conclude his services. We gratefully acknowledge Attorney Nugent's invaluable counsel over the last 8 years and extend our best wishes for his future pursuits. We are pleased that two attorneys from that firm, Steve Honan and Christopher Pavlaka, will remain to advise the Board of Architecture Review and Justice Court matters respectively. Tonight, we are considering a resolution to appoint counsel to the village board for this coming official year from Harris Beach. They have big shoes to fill, but we know they have a solid track record and we are confident in their ability to provide candid and legally sound advice.
Thank you very much, Trustee Casker. Glad we were able to clear that up for those that were interested. Okay, let's move on to reports. Do we have any reports this evening? Jeff?
Yeah, actually, the last 2.5 weeks, we've been cleaning up after the heavy rains that we got a couple Sundays ago. We had cut down some dead trees on Big Triangle on Tuxedo Road and also down at the south end of Tuxedo Lake on that triangle. We got some fallen trees that they cut up, cleaned up on Westlake Stable, Westlake Road, Summit Road, Tuxedo Road by the Club Boathouse, Mountain Farm Road. We had weed whacked the edges of various roads. We installed a couple of dog waste stations, one at Weewalk Park and one down at the racetrack. We had the sweeper out cleaning up roads after the rains, cut grass. We installed new lights at the bathhouse at Weewalk Park. We took apart the old raft from the beach club in hopes of making a boat launch, but it was in such bad shape that we couldn't do have all the floats put aside if we do decide to build a dock in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Completed water meter readings for the second quarter. Continued with painting fire hydrants, markouts, irrigation meters, cleared the sewer blockage on Continental Road. Obtained weekly water meter readings for Denise. Did some work on the heating units at the water plant. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Chief?
Hey, good evening, everyone. So for the month of June, we had 266 calls for service, 3 criminal cases, and we issued 1 village ordinance violation. 2 property damage. We issued 11 traffic tickets and 21 warnings for traffic violations. 3 fire calls, 1 burglar alarm, 2 medical calls. We assisted the town of Tuxedo Police once. We assisted 3 other police agencies. We patrolled roughly 2,328 miles. And again, we weren't able to get the approximate vehicle count because the county server was down for the plate reader. So,
All right, so we have a new officer that started.
yes, he started. He's been trained and he's good to go. He's on his own now.
Very excited to have him on board.
Yeah, he's doing good so far.
Terrific. Thank you very much. John?
We have a number of projects going on in the village. The only one that's been slightly delayed is finishing the landscaping approval plan for the Rifkin property. There is some debate regarding the neighbors and the BAR regarding responsibilities as it relates to the property line and what work has occurred and what needs to be done going forward. 3 C of O requests during the month of July, 126 Summit Road, 72 Lookout Road, 29 Serpentine Road. The Ramos project on Clubhouse Road, the siding is being installed. The Klein project at 130 Continental Road, they're finishing up doors and hardware and moldings. Project is essentially finished. The Devereaux project, finishing the landscaping. They've been slightly delayed because there has been a substantial amount of water that came off the road that flooded out that property. Jeff Austin and I looked at that property a couple of days after the flooding. I'm going to try to come up with a plan to redirect some of that water that comes off the bottom of Clubhouse Road.
Thank you.
It is quite an undertaking because there is a lot of water that ends up at the bottom of that juncture there between Tower Hill and Clubhouse. Did advise Evans Freak on 91 Lookout about some trees that need to be removed. I was given an email address to get in touch with Mr. Evans Freak, so I'm hoping I'll have better progress on getting that property cleaned up. The Young violation for tree cutting has been adjourned until August 17th. Apparently Mr. Young was in the need of medical care, so he couldn't come to the meeting last week. We had approximately 5 people that we determined had some flooding damage on their property, and we notified FEMA of those property owners. We also notified the property owners of the proper people to call at local congressman's office so they can try to get some assistance.
Thank you.
We're still working with Orange and Rockland. They came in about 3 weeks ago and helped remove several trees between Clubhouse Road, East Lake Road, Triangle, and the Southgate Road. We obtained estimates for getting tick control and tick spraying down at the Weewalt Park and Beach. And we also got rid of one of the last items that we auctioned off this past spring from the DPW shop. It was an old 500-pound forklift battery that somebody fortunately paid for and picked up this past Saturday. So environmentally, at least it's good. It's out of our hands and we're done with it. Jeff and I met with Miguel Hennessy and a couple other people regarding some water drainage problems that we'll try to address. Once again, this was really a very heavy storm, and I don't know if we can address everything that happened due to the heavy rains.
We're doing our best.
We're doing our best. So that's a summary.
Okay,
the
terrific.
report's been posted online.
Terrific. Do any of the trustees have any questions about the minutes?
I do
not.
Anybody had a chance to read
I
the May
did.
ones?
I did.
I know they were very late.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much. I know we've all been very busy lately with a lot of extracurricular activities. Okay, so before we open the public comment section, let me just clarify again for those in the public here in the hall, as well as those online, that out of abundance of caution, I have recused myself from any matters related to the defense of the village and Elizabeth Dougherty. And therefore, please do not address any questions about the election to me, or I will have to leave and recuse myself again, if the board would like to answer those questions. But otherwise, 2 minutes per agenda item. Do we have anyone in the hall that would like to ask a question? Yes, sir. Please identify yourself and your name and address, please.
Hey, Jay Reichgott, 121 Laurel Road. I see that one of the items on the agenda is spraying for ticks at the WeWork. And it's obvious the board and John have done a due diligence of 800 different quotes from different companies. And I'm going to urge you to accept none of them. First of all, even if they told you it was an organic product and would only kill the ticks and wouldn't hurt any good bugs, that's simply not.
Support the path the village is taking.
You kill the bugs, you kill all the bugs. You kill the ticks, you kill mosquitoes, you kill the dragonflies, you kill the fireflies, you kill the butterflies, you kill the bees that live in my house. And you don't really kill the ticks. Not very effectively killing ticks. You want to effectively kill the ticks that are on the products. They sell them under the name of tick tubes. There are other versions of that, which are small. They look like toilet paper tubes. Filled with cotton wool. The cotton wool is treated with insecticide. You put them around. The field mice, which are the major vector for the ticks in the spring and the fall,
Right.
love the cotton wool. They take it back to their little nests. They make little beds out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It kills the ticks. They come out. It doesn't harm any of the other insects. Ticks are a thing. You have to check for ticks after you go to any park. You go home, you check your kids for ticks. You check yourself for ticks. If you ask nice, you might get your sweetie to check you for ticks. But spraying for ticks, spraying for any insect willy-nilly is remarkably bad for the environment, for all of us, and not very effective. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else, either in the
may I
audience
interject?
or,
May I interject quickly?
who's that?
This is Chris Pavlaka from Fair Community.
Oh, hi, Chris, please. Our attorney from,
Yeah, I would note to for the two trustees who are directly to your left, your microphones are live, so we can hear some of the private conversations you are having over Zoom.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anyone in the audience have any comments on the ticks or any experience?
Only thing is that I know the park school does something and maybe a call up to them. might be helpful.
How about anyone in the, on Zoom? Do you have any experience with tick sprays? Okay.
Hey, can I just say, I think tick tubes are very smart. I don't know who mentioned that topic, but that actually is highly effective and a great option.
Okay.
Gavin.
Okay, thank you, Gavin. That was Gavin. What's your address, Gavin?
86 Summit Road.
Thank you.
But yeah, what's smart about them is it brings the cotton balls back to the nests of chipmunks and such that are vectors for ticks. And instead of doing it, actually removes the outer shell of the tick, and it's just a little bit more of a targeted solution.
Okay, that sounds great. Do you know where, Jay or Gavin, do you know where we can get a hold of these?
Amazon.
Amazon.
And they're cheap. It would cost something like $100 per apple.
Okay. Okay, well, I think we should seriously consider that. What do you folks think?
I agree. And I believe TPS had some restrictions on what they could do on their playing fields. I don't remember if it was insecticide or, yeah, there's some there. And I think that was a DEC thing. So I don't know if it's worth checking with the DEC. It's a park and all stuff. It probably doesn't matter for doing the tick tubes.
Okay.
Otherwise.
All right. So without objection, I'm going to table the discussion on ticks. And I believe that is, let's see, where are we located on that? Oh, that's new business E. So let's table that. and take a look at these tick tubes. Thank you both very much. We appreciate that. Any other comments?
Have a comment?
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to address my comments to trustee Casker, if you don't mind. As the village attorneys dealing with the election, reportedly report to him.
I had to stop you right now. They don't report to me.
Are you key man on them? Who
No,
do they report?
I am, as of the resolution last month at the special meeting, I am the key point of contact for the open meetings law violation, not the election law
And who is-
accusation.
Who is the key person?
The clerk is.
So I'm going to address my comments to Elizabeth and
And your name for the record is Claudio
Claudio
Guazzoni?
Guazzoni,
Thank you.
87 Summit Road.
Thank you.
Well, holdover Mayor McFadden has told us that he has hired no attorneys, that he represents himself pro se. Ms. Doherty, I am putting the
Okay,
village on
excuse me.
notice that
I'm going to have to recuse myself.
Ms. Doherty. Holdover Mayor McFadden has told us he has hired no attorneys. He is representing himself pro se, so he says. I'd like to put the village on notice that the village attorneys hired by the village in their actions seem to be representing too much of McFadden and not enough of the village. The village and the village attorneys should be neutral. They should not care who the ultimate winner in this mayoral election is. However, although their words speak neutrality, their actions are quite loud as they aggressively support the candidacy of David McFadden. This is a very expensive law firm that the village has hired, paid for by village monies, who David McFadden has seemingly hijacked as his own campaign attorneys. We have made a proposal to the village attorneys, which is in the best interest of the village. And the proposal has been oddly rebuffed. Ms. Doherty, you might not be aware of this, but a number of people around here identify David McFadden as their boss. And that you might too once have identified Mayor McFadden as your boss. And that people around here work for Boss Mac and they don't work for the village. And under such overbearing pressure from Boss Mac, how can we expect that a village election could have been fairly run by the village clerk when Boss Mac put her in a pressure cooker day in and day out? In fact, the pressure was so bad that before handing out absentee ballots, the village clerk did not even check whether to see if that person was registered.
I'll give you 5
or not
seconds, but
in
time
the
is up.
car. A friend of McFadden's who lives in the Woodland was even given a ballot and allowed to vote.
Okay.
This never happened before. We made a proposal. Please come and.
Thank you. Time is up.
Time
To
is
an
up.
agreement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Strongly support your First Amendment right to speak, but everybody else would like.
Let's come to an agreement.
No, your time is up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. So anybody else have any comments in here about the election case? Does anybody online have a comment about the election case? Because I'd like to hear it now before we bring the mayor back in. Let's bring him back in.
Thank you very much.
These are the ones in your signature.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Are we finished with comments?
No, just I asked if anybody had comments about the election case.
Great.
Nobody did, so
Okay,
it's still
terrific.
open for other comments.
Terrific. Do we have any other comments in general, non-election related? How about in the Zoom audience? Okay, thank you very much. The comment section is closed. Let's move on to the consent agenda. We have the written reports to add to the permanent record. Approve the minutes from the 26th of June and 6th of July.
that okay or not?
Sure. Let's yeah. Did everyone get a chance to review that? Did or did not?
I did.
Okay. So what is that date?
May 24th.
May 24th. Okay, did you have a chance to look at those?
No.
Josh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So I have as well. So do you mind if we move forward with those?
With the minutes?
Yeah.
No, actually, I think I did read them, yeah.
Okay,
Only
good.
The one today I did.
Okay. All right. So any questions before I clear the consent agenda?
No.
Okay. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the consent agenda items A and B. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Let's move to old business. John, would you like to give us an update on the Wi-Fi at the WeWa?
Yes, we updated the Wi-Fi, so it's a dedicated Wi-Fi signal from the utility pole. It was finished, the installation was finished today, but we need our IT people to do the final connection to the actual Wi-Fi devices. So we expect that'll be done before Monday.
And what are the costs?
It was 197 a month, but it will be a little bit less. Initially, we had dedicated IP addresses, but our IT person told us we don't need dedicated IP addresses, so it will be a little bit less than 197.
Terrific. I hear it's been well appreciated by the members. And would you like to give us an update on the YouTube versus Vimeo channel?
Yes, we consulted our IT support people, and they felt that the best way to post the village meetings, Board of Trustees, Planning Board, Bar, BZA, is to create a YouTube channel. And New Windsor IT created that channel, started uploading the videos to YouTube approximately a week ago, and they're well underway.
I've looked at it. I think it's very nice. Has anyone else had a chance to look at it? We'll be able for the first time to put up all board meetings and their videos, which would be terrific. I did include, for those of you who have an agenda in front of them, I did include a link, and you can look at that at your leisure. Anything else for old business? Okay, let's move on to new business. We have a resolution, as Trustee Casker mentioned earlier, to engage Harris Beach to serve at the pleasure of the village board as legal counsel to the village board effective August 1st. Is there any discussion regarding that? I had mentioned that I might want to look at the fee structure a little bit and go back and forth with them a little bit. And if you give me that authority, I'd appreciate that. And so what I would do. Anyone has that? Is that acceptable? Oh, it was sent by Brian today. If we
Mayor,
have it
would
on
you-
our,
Mayor, would you mind repeating that? At least my
Copy.
Zoom audio went out for just a little bit.
sure. This resolution that we're about to pass is to engage the law office of Harris Beach to serve at the pleasure of the village as legal counsel to the board effective August 1st. All right, Chris? Okay,
Great, thank you.
yes. No, this is not the Harris Beach one. Is it, Chris, do you have that on your?
For it.
Do you want me to go with it?
Yeah, please. Okay, so we'll table that till we get a copy of that in front of us. All right, so we also would like to discuss adding John as a second signature to the New York class transfers, as well as, and I'm going to add this now, to Chase Bank, who also requires a second signature. The reason is having someone that is an employee of the village rather than having to change it every time there's a new trustee or mayor. And do any of the trustees have any questions about that?
No.
Okay. You got good on that, Chris? Okay. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees at John Ledwith as the second signature to the New York class transfers and Chase bank accounts. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Terrific. Thank you.
Okay.
Before we move on to Weston and Sampson, I know that trustee Casker had asked for a price. Do you have an estimate for that?
This is for the repair of the ceiling at the water plant?
Yes.
Yes, the initial quote that we received was $19,900. We went back to them and asked them if they could look into this a little bit further. They came down to $15,900. They also agreed with me and the village that to the best they can, the repairs and means and methods they'll design, so our DPW might be able to do most of the repair ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
If we
And,
need outside help, obviously we'll get it, but to
Mhm.
what extent we can.
and this is just for the engineering of the project.
This is the Weston and Sampson is just for the engineering of the project. Yes. This also includes re-engineering to add a larger second floor door for easier access to go to the chemical rooms. So it's not just a repair to the ceiling. There's a little more involved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And do we feel we should get a second or third bid? I know that this is considered a professional service and we're not required to. And you had mentioned some hesitation you had over some of the other engineering firms.
We've gone out to a few other firms in the past and we haven't gotten the best results. Notably McGoey, Hauser and Edsel, their prices on some of the quotes that we've received from them for some wall repairs and other work was exceptionally high.
Mhm.
And in some cases really didn't give us a ceiling. It was just kind of an open
Mhm.
number.
Mhm.
And we've also used Michael Quinn from time to time, but his numbers have been high.
Mhm.
And we also don't know if we should be, leaning on him at this point, because
Right.
we have other issues that we have to
Okay.
resolve.
I'll start with you, trustee Casker. Do you have any questions about this project in general? Trustee Brooke,
I do not.
trustee Shaw,
No.
trustee Scher.
I don't,
Excuse me.
I said I do not.
Thank you. So let me have that price again, please.
Revised price,
15,000.
15,990.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, 15,009.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve Weston and Sampson to engineer a solution for repairing the ceiling in the water plant to be implemented by the DPW at a rate of $15,900. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Ayes have it. For the following grant applications, which are listed under 10D 1 through 5. If you want to look at your agendas. And John, do you have a price range for those?
Yes, I contacted Joe Zongel today, not to exceed $2,500. There is some additional work they do have to do. The applications have changed slightly from our last submittal, and everything has to be submitted electronically. So
it's not just a cut and paste.
no.
Okay.
The projects themselves are essentially the same, but the applications have changed.
Do you want to explain to the board and to the public what these projects are briefly?
Sure. We would like to install a water meter so we can calculate all the water that gets sent to the town of Tuxedo. We have a meter that's already there at this point, but it does not calculate.
Lost audio?
Yeah, we've lost audio again.
You there? Can you hear me now?
Yes, John, we can.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Once again, we'd like to install a master meter so we can calculate all the water that goes to the town. The East Village water main replacement. This is a water main that extends from essentially the front gate of the village of Tuxedo Park, under the railroad tracks, through the parking lot, under the Ramapo, under the New York State Thruway. We attempted to get this project done several years ago. The price really exceeded whatever benefit we might get from it. So we're trying to apply for some grant money to see if we can make that project happen.
And didn't the scope also change the project
Yes,
into now?
yes, the scope did change and we've kind of reduced it to the most critical parts of what we need to repair. Some of the mains in that area have been problematic over the last 10, 15 years. So we'd like to try to address the mains as best we can. The Mountain Road water main replacement. This is another water main that goes up Mountain Road in the town of Tuxedo, which has been problematic for some time. It is an old transite pipe and it is susceptible to fluctuations in water pressure. And fortunately, for the last 6 or 8 months, we haven't had any issues. But it is an area that we've had problems with over the last 10 to 15 years. And the Tuxedo Lake water main replacement, we do have a water main that goes underneath Tuxedo Lake from the Tuxedo Park Water Plant across to the intersection of Turtle Point and West Lake Road. It's an old line. We have no reason to believe that it's leaking at this point, but it really is beyond its life. It's approaching somewhere around 100 years old. And the unfortunate part is if we do lose that main without any plans, essentially the west side of the village will be out of substantial amount of water.
But that's the west side.
Sure. You will get some water through the main that goes around the club in that direction, but not enough to supply enough pressure for everybody on the west side of the lake. Even up to Pawtucket Road, you're not going to get any water up on Pawtucket Road in the park school. And the water treatment plant clear well upgrades. There's an issue there with a chemical contact time that we have to make some modifications to a tank. And we're trying to get that covered under a grant application.
I would say that these are well in excess of $1 million total. These projects,
Total, yes,
sure.
yes.
And just for the public consumption, the grants only cover about 40% of the cost. Is that correct?
Was it 25 or is it? I don't remember.
I don't think
There
it's as
was a
much as
diff-
40,
Yeah.
but still it is advantageous despite the engineering cost to try to get grant money.
So we're looking really at an investment of 2,500 for potentially a return of at least $250,000 potentially. Is that a fair statement? All right. So any questions? All right. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve Weston and Sampson to file the attached grant applications at a cost of approximately $2,500. The deadline is August 10th, 2023. They include the Town of Tuxedo water relocation, East Village water main replacement, Mountain Road water main replacement, Tuxedo Lake water main replacement, water treatment plant clear well upgrades. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Okay. As we mentioned earlier, we're going to table the discussion of ticks in favor of looking into the other methods that were mentioned during the comment section by Jay and Gavin. We thank them very much. Now, do we have any bids for the irrigation system?
Yes, I obtained 3 quotes. Knapp Irrigation, 13,000, Darren McCormick, 20,815, and ProCut Landscaping, 33,000. That was their first option. The second option, we asked them to give us a quote if we were to use the water out of the Weewa Lake for irrigation. Because of pumping requirements and electrical requirements, the second option ended up costing $57,200.
All right, I'd like to comment. Basically, when we started looking into this, it seemed pretty dry. And we were trying to recuperate that 22,000 square foot of grass. We've had a lot of rain lately. It seems to be doing well. I'm not so sure that we need to make this investment at this time. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to go to the Weewa recently and look. Looks nice and green. And we've certainly had a lot of rain lately. So I'm going to recommend that we table that unless someone on the Board of Trustees would like to continue that discussion.
I'm fine with tabling it.
Yeah, me too.
I agree, table it.
Okay. Thank you, John, for looking into that. We really appreciate that. Please let the companies know that right now it's in a holding pattern. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to appoint Ryan Lynch as the bar chair. He was appointed last month as the 5th member. I was very satisfied with his first meeting, and we are lacking a chair. Do the Board of Trustees have any questions?
Do you want the job?
Yes, sir. At his own peril. Yes, sir. Do you have any questions?
No.
Paul,
Nope.
I'm fine.
aside from that one? Okay. Be it resolved, the Board of Trustees appoint Ryan Lynch as the bar chair. May I have a second?
Second.
Quick discussion. I do have
Sure.
another question.
Yeah.
How long is this for? Is this, like, how does this fall into the big
Sure.
scheme of
Well,
holdovers? and-
yeah, no, good question. So if you go back to the three options, and I specifically asked Brian how I should couch this resolution. And he said, just go ahead and make the resolution. And then when it comes time to do a reorg, you can assess it at that time.
Okay.
So that will give, if there's another mayor or, et cetera, the option to make that change.
Okay.
Okay,
So he's on probation.
yes, or holdover.
Just kidding.
Okay, all set? Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees appoint Ryan Lynch as the bar chair. May I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, now, Elizabeth, you had mentioned that we might have three bids. Do we have three bids or just one?
Of the one so far.
We just have the one. Okay, so just for those following along on the agenda, this was to discuss stocking the lake with trout, as we do typically every year, and bringing in participation by the Tuxedo Club and the Village Boat Club. But we only have, as of now, one bid. So we're going to get two more bids. So without objection, I'd like to table that.
I'm good with that.
Elizabeth, do we have any audit of claims?
Yes, we do. The order of claims is as follows: the general fund, $144,162.95. Sewer fund is $5,191. And the water fund is $21,961.24.
Thank you. Would you like me to sign those? Do we have any budget transfers?
No, we do not.
We do not. Okay, now let's go back to the resolution on Harris Beach. Do we have a copy of that?
I couldn't find it. I know I have it buried in my email somewhere. I'd prefer maybe after executive session to come back and do it because I couldn't look for it and pay
Good
attention
idea.
at the same time.
Good idea. Okay, so for those following along at home, we have a resolution outstanding to hire Harris Beach as our village attorney starting August 1st, 2023. We are going to locate the resolution during executive session, and we will then come out of executive session and propose that resolution. So that said,
Just to be clear, that's not the reason we're going to go to executive session.
correct.
Just using it as a.
And I will now state.
Any confusion.
I will now state why we are going to executive session to discuss a water department matter, meeting with Jeff Voss, legal matters, and utility matters. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees exit the public meeting to enter executive session for the reasons just mentioned. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We are going to go into executive session and put you into a holding area if you're on Zoom, and you're welcome to rejoin us when we return. I don't have an estimate of how long that will be, but we'll do our best to make it timely. And for those of you in the audience, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And if you'd like to come back after executive session, you're welcome to do so. Thank you very much. At this point, when we do that, I'd like to invite Jeff into executive session. Chief, thank you very much.
Good night.
You are dismissed, sir.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
You too. Good to see you.
You as well.
Non-official public comment, but drought resisting grass is always cheaper than irrigation.
Draft resistant?
Drought.
Resisting
Drought
grass.
That's what we planted.
That's why we don't need it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Sure.
Jeff, what kind of grass is drought resistant? Like fescue? Just annual, or I mean perennial fescue? Good to know.
Once it's established.
Yeah.
Okay, let us know when we're ready to go. Gavin is still in, so is Adrian Lucas.
There's 18 people.
Shannon's iPhone, that's Shannon from,
And we're still recording.
and we're still recording.
I know, doing a few things here.